Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. I'm your host, Sam Randazzo. I'm joined today by my two over it co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
Hello.
Was that an O or was that a hello?
Is there you have anything else to add there?
No.
Okay. And to my left, it's none other than our very own Mr. Zolo, Mike Palazzolo.
How you doing?
And behind the computer, frying his own cutlet, it's Bruce, the tugboat Venditti.
Howdy.
I've been waiting all day for that one.
Yeah.
Been waiting all day for it. Hello and welcome.
You
We're
like
back.
shit black and sweet. Go ahead.
At least I don't put bullshit in my coffee like a woman.
Ooh, he just called you. What's your coffee order?
Sorry?
2 cream, 2 sugar? Is that
Double,
what you're
double,
up to
babe.
these days? 2 cream,
Double
2
cream, double sugar.
double cream, double sugar.
That's it.
How's your week going so far?
It's fucking great.
What has made it so quote unquote fucking great?
It's just great.
That's it.
That's it.
You came out with the wool cap today. I'm here for it.
It was very cold this morning.
You're a little chilly these days, eh? Even a burly
It's
bear
going to be
like
cold
you.
tonight, too.
That's what I heard.
Yeah. It's going to get
Gonna
cold.
warm up over the next 3 days, though.
It'll be in the teens, baby. Be in the teens tonight.
3 more days. We're gonna have heat tomorrow. We're gonna have heat Friday. We're gonna have heat on Saturday too.
Can't wait for the snow.
Fuck that.
I can't wait for the snow.
Mr. Zolo, how's your week been thus far?
It's good, but I'm ready for the fucking weekend.
Bruce?
Howdy.
Anyways, we've got a loaded Wednesday today. We got a lot of news to go over. We've got 2 Monday night games to recap. 2 Monday night games that surprised a lot of people. And then we have a Thursday night preview to go over. But are you starting to feel a little bit festive?
Talking to me?
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
No.
What do you got planned coming up? You got anything Christmassy planned? Anything?
No.
Are you going caroling?
Just doing stupid shopping and fighting through traffic and fucking people.
Come on.
Bah humbug. Hate Christmas, hate people. Thank you.
Oh, the fuck's wrong with Christmas?
Christmas and people.
Are
Don't
you-
like either one.
Are you doing anything festive to prepare for the holiday, Solo?
Nah, just fucking sit at home and watch movies.
You might as well get him a Krampus outfit instead of a Santa outfit.
Him?
Yeah.
I would tell him he could wear the Grinch outfit, but he won't fit into it.
No, true.
But you know what next week means, right? You know next week.
No.
They're in the box. They're waiting.
Not wearing that shit.
We got to.
Fuck
It's tradition. It's tradition.
No, it's not.
We all wore Santa suits last year.
We didn't do
fuck,
anything
you got
for
one for me?
Halloween.
Yes.
I'm not wearing that shit.
Yeah, you didn't do anything for Halloween. We had I think we had an episode the day before Halloween. You didn't dress up.
I wasn't
This-
here.
What do you mean you weren't here?
I missed that.
Was that the one you skipped? Anyways. All right, let's get straight into the news. January 6th, Santa. Anyways, big chunk of news coming out of New England last night, pretty randomly. A source very close to the New England Patriots, who's usually not wrong. In all my years of following Patriots news, he's usually not wrong. Said
That's when he was on the wagon. Go ahead.
said that the Krafts made the decision after the Patriots loss in Germany that them and Bill Belichick were going to part ways this year. Belichick was asked about it multiple times in his press conference today, and his response was, "I am preparing for Kansas City." So he gave no insight into anything regarding that being a possibility. But supposedly that Robert Kraft, it was very important that the Patriots made the playoffs this year, and obviously they did not meet expectations. After the Colts game in Germany, they decided that they would move on from Bill Belichick. So, with that being said, this is a pretty monumental thing. I mean, Belichick, now the second winningest coach in the history of the game, the most losing coach in the history of the game, second most games coached in the history of the game, most Super Bowl rings out of any head coach in the game. This is huge. Do you think, one, Belichick gets a chance somewhere else? There's a lot of people saying today that he's going to end up getting traded to Washington. Do you think that he calls it a day after this? And who fits that Patriots mold to come in as the next head coach?
Fuck Boston. Think I give a fuck about Belichick? He was 0-2 against Eli when it mattered most. Fuck him. I don't give a shit about Boston.
You care to give any insight?
I think he'll do whatever he wants. If he
I
wants
still
to
think
continue coaching, he will. And I think if he doesn't, he's gone.
the Chargers are a great job for Belichick. I think he's going to end up out west. I think the women are perfect for him out there. He just broke up with his girl. He's got good pieces. They got a good defense. They're going to have a good draft pick. He can work with Herbert, too. I think he can work with Herbert. Makes tons of sense. As for who comes in the Patriots, I don't fucking know. That's a dumpster fire. They got to start by getting a quarterback before they do anything else.
I didn't
so
know
you
we
don't
were
think
sitting down with Tony Soprano?
you don't think the trade to Washington is a real thing?
It's hard for me to imagine that. I don't know. I think he's going to do whatever he wants. I mean, if they're going to part ways, they part ways. I wouldn't be surprised if he just retires.
Nah, he's going to go after Shula's record.
You know.
You don't
close.
think he's chasing records?
He's close to Shula's
don't
record,
think
so he's
so.
got to go to
I
a
don't think
team that could get him
records
20
matter much
wins
to
in
him,
2
dude.
years, or maybe 20.
Yeah.
We'll call it 20 wins in 3 years. How far? Check right now. How far is he from Shula?
Let's see.
Fuck the Dolphins,
You
by the way.
sounded like Carl there.
But yeah, this kind of came out of nowhere.
Nah, we've been talking about it. You knew it was coming. You were just in denial because you're a Patriots
We
fan.
knew he was
I
gone at the end of the
honestly didn't think it would ever happen.
year. We knew he was gone at the end of the year.
He has 301. Don Shula has 328.
So he's got to get 30 wins over 3-4 years here. I don't fucking know. I could see it happening. He's got to end up in the right place. I don't know if Washington's that spot. I think the Chargers make more sense.
The Chargers. The Chargers. Another huge piece of news that came out today. NFL ownership has voted to double its total of international games going forward. They announced today that next year there will be a game in Sao Paulo, Brazil. And in 2025, they will not have 4 international games. It will move up to 8. As it's well documented on this show that we think that the NFL is trying to go worldwide, and that sooner rather than later we will see a team either in London, in Germany.
I think the first team will be in London.
Well, it makes the most sense.
And then the second team will be probably Frankfurt. They're going to add a couple of teams, and I do believe it's going to be London and Germany for England and Germany first.
They should go to Mexico or Canada first.
I think
before
there's
they
going to
go.
be a team there too.
I
That's where the Chargers.
I
might
would
wind
rather
up.
it be Mexico, Canada, like this side.
Toronto would make the
They're gonna
most sense.
expand. They're gonna expand. They'll expand to London. I don't think they're gonna relocate. They're gonna do an international expansion. They'll expand to London. They'll
Khan's
expand
been wanting to
Toronto.
move the Jaguars to London for 5 years.
They're sinking $2 billion into a new stadium, into
He's
redoing
been
the
wanting to
stadium.
move that team to London for 5 years.
He's
the
gonna get the
NFL
new stadium.
won't let him. That's why.
The NFL doing a heartbeat. He wants to keep him in Jacksonville because
I
it
don't
costs
think
him
so,
less
dude.
money.
No,
guy.
I think I
What?
think there's going to be an expansion
Tough
division.
Okay.
Expansion
Wise
division.
guy.
They've been talking about it for a long time. The teams that go
They
over to
expanded
London.
the Colts to fucking Indianapolis. Yeah.
I'm with you. Toronto's a great city
The
for
Browns,
football too.
The
NFL's
Browns,
big
the
in
Baltimore.
Toronto too.
Toronto
Huge.
would be good.
Okay. I mean,
Yeah, but that's moving. That's shuffling around.
Those are relocations. Those are
far away.
it
relocations.
exists
I don't know.
before then.
It's. I feel like it's tough to take any franchise realistically outside of Jacksonville or the Chargers.
Jacksonville's attendance is amongst the league's bottom.
Correct.
Been that for fucking since they've been in the NFL.
The whole reason that I don't see them moving them is because they got funding for that.
Got
stadium.
Wembley Stadium. You got Wembley Stadium that
They
fucking
beat
sells
Tottenham.
out bigger than fucking U of M.
The one in Wembley Stadium's 80,000 seats.
Whatever. Bigger.
It's Tottenham, the one they just built for Tottenham Hotspur, North London. The NFL goes there twice now. That's where they go. They put a whole NFL facility in there.
Brits just gotta ruin
Makes tons of sense.
everything, don't they?
I
No,
just
no, I think a team in London would be fucking great. They're already going there, and I think Jacksonville
I
makes tons of
hate-
sense.
Who do you think runs
London.
Pro Football Focus?
I
They're all guys
fucking-
out of fucking England.
That was
Chris
Collinsworth.
Collinsworth owns that, but that was originally based out of London. That's where you get all your fucking little innuendos and your semantics and your numbers from. Bunch of dudes in London like they know football.
I'm with you though. Mexico City, London, Toronto. I don't fucking know. Maybe it's a team in Western Canada, Vancouver. I know there's tons of football in Canada, but there's spots that make sense. I'm excited for the Sao Paulo thing because I think the Lions are gonna end up there next year, and I can tell you why.
That's it. Go down there, watch a game, lose a fucking kidney. It's perfect. Wind up in a hotel room, wake up missing a kidney.
I'll go visit Rigo.
I'm sorry?
I'll go visit Rigo.
So let me tell you about Sao Paulo real quick. So the Lions are slated to lose a game to International. It hasn't happened yet. They're going to lose one. They got an extra home game next year at the NFC. They get 9 home games. And as it stands, Brazil, the NFL has different territories for different countries. Brazilian territory is the Dolphins because the link between Miami, it's the closest state to Brazil, makes tons of sense. So no matter what, the Dolphins are going to play in that game next year. You know who might play the Dolphins if they finish in first?
Read that?
They got to both finish in first. You know who plays the Dolphins is the Lions. The Lions were already slated to lose an international game. I think it makes tons of sense that the Lions end up playing the Dolphins in Sao Paulo next year.
For everybody in the chat wondering, in honor of TDB,
Who?
TDB,
Ooh.
Tommy DeVito, baby. We don't have Mike Palazzolo today. We have Mikey DeVito
Oh, God.
joining us on the show.
You
Tommy
fucking
DeVito, Tommy Cutlets.
In case-
He saved Detroit and he saved New York all on the same fucking night. I'll take the Gabagool Z.
In some other news, Ravens signed quarterback Malik Cunningham off of their Patriots practice squad, and Devin Duvernay hit IR. Shocked to see that one. Obviously, Lamar Jackson and Malik Cunningham were teammates at Louisville way back when Malik Cunningham was a freshman.
I didn't fucking know that.
They were teammates for one season. I guess that Lamar wanted them to make the push for this. They now have 4 quarterbacks on the 53-man, so they're going to have to do some moving around. But Patriots, I think they might have let a guy who, in their quarterback situation, kind of get away.
Someone sent a fucking tweet too, and then they said, "Go,
It was
get
one of the
your worth."
Patriots offensive linemen, Trent
Brown?
Trent Brown.
Trent Brown.
Trent Brown posted a picture of Malik Cunningham on his Instagram story and said, "Go to a place where your talent is appreciated."
I think that's fucking saying a lot. Hey, follow the money. You ever think Belichick's gonna end up where Malik Cunningham ends up? Follow the money. Follow the trail.
Another one. Vikings wide receiver Justin Jefferson told reporters today post-practice that he will play Saturday in Cincinnati.
Like it matters.
But we saw him come back for a second last week, get hurt again, spend the night in the hospital. So now I really just don't get it. He must be banged up
He
still.
took a big shot. You got to fucking rub some dirt on it and go in there and get in there and fucking play, dude. Pussies.
Pussies.
Grant Delphi out for hit IR for the Browns defense. And now, God, I don't even know why I bothered to do this one. Ogbania Okoronkwo. Any help there?
Oquanico, I don't fucking know.
Yeah, he's out for the year now too.
He's a fucking linebacker, right?
He's a defensive end. He is second in the team in sacks.
Which team?
The Browns.
Okay.
Big. So he plays opposite of
Garrett.
Out for the year officially with a torn pec.
That sucks.
The league announced today where the site of Super Bowl 61 will be. Obviously, this year, Super Bowl in Vegas. Next year in New Orleans. Super Bowl 60 is going to be in San Francisco. Super Bowl 61 headed back to SoFi Stadium and Los Angeles in 2027.
Hey, you and I both been to SoFi. It's a great fucking building.
It is. Great stadium. The atmosphere for the Super Bowl was incredible. I don't love the fact that you have 2 back-to-back Super Bowls in California.
That's what it is.
But
That's where all the weirdos and the money's at.
Nah, the weirdos are in San Francisco. I don't think they're in
That's
fucking
where all
Los
the weirdos
Angeles.
are in California, period. Bunch of freaks.
I've been to that Levi Stadium, too. It's nice building, but similar. You know how fucking SoFi is hard to get to. It's hard to park. All that
Yes.
shit. They put Levi's Stadium at the south of the Bay. It's closer to Silicon Valley. It's closer to the fucking money. Okay, it's nowhere near San Francisco, so it's hard to get to. It's far from the airport. You can't get there from transit. You can't fucking park there. You gotta walk over all these fucking hills. I'm not big in the Levi's Stadium. Nice stadium once you fucking get there. Not really big in the Levi's Stadium. And plus, it gets fucking cold in San Francisco in February. I don't think it gets cold in Los Angeles.
Why can't there be something where it's like if your team is playing in the Super Bowl, you get like priority to tickets at a cheaper?
I think the team that finishes with the best.
They do
record
that.
They do
hosts
that?
it.
They do that. The way the stadium's divvied up, a third goes to one team and a third goes to the other team. 2/3 go to the fucking teams playing in the game. The last third goes to, it's divvied up between the city, the league, the other teams, whatever. But
think
most
the
of the
team
teams
that
get it,
finishes
and you
second
get
is
access
record.
to.
Be
Football
only the
should
two
host it.
teams' fan bases.
That ain't how the NFL works. They gotta get their
Yeah,
dicks
fair
off everywhere else.
Best
Sucks.
record in football should host it.
The team that finishes with the best record in
Best
football
record.
should host it.
Here's the problem. Agreed 100%. It should have always been that way. It should be a home field advantage throughout. But here's the problem. Super Bowl is a spectacle. It's a big fucking event. So the whole point is you need to have the hotels. You got to have the event space, the convention centers. You got to have everything the goings on in the city. Because otherwise, the NFL can't lure all the fucking money to show up there and make it the big event that it is. But it shouldn't be. It should be about the two
They
fucking
do.
teams playing.
I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah,
They
every
do.
team plays in a city. Like they all have fucking room.
No.
No.
true.
There's an influx of fucking people that come in for the fucking Super Bowl. It happens every year. That's why they go to the same cities because they know they can handle it. And that's why Detroit hasn't gotten a big event in years. We're getting a Final Four, I think. I can't remember what year, but we're getting a Final Four because all these hotels are going up downtown. They're putting a hotel in Hudson's. They just put a hotel on Michigan Avenue.
2027.
2027. The city of Detroit and the sports commission had to guarantee a certain amount of rooms, and they got to be new rooms and luxury rooms in order to get these events.
Well, yeah, they're not gonna have a Super Bowl in Buffalo. It's a shithole.
Exactly.
Pittsburgh's
and
a
it's
shithole.
thing.
And it's
Doesn't
far. The
matter.
stadium in Buffalo is far from everything. So
Correct.
there's no fucking hotels around
There's
there.
nothing.
But that's the thing. It shouldn't be in Buffalo unless
Listen to me.
Buffalo's in the Super Bowl. Therefore, their fan base is already there, and only the away team has to travel to fucking go there. But if you have majority, which is
You have
Super
to-
Bowl is a fucking performance and not even about
Correct.
football anymore. It's about some jackass who lives in Miami who can spend the money to go to the damn thing.
That's what the Super Bowl has always been.
I got one caveat about the Super Bowl before we move on. My whole thing is I'm with Uncle Sam. If you have the best record, what better reward than having the Super Bowl in your own fucking stadium? That being said, when we get to that game, I don't want to hear any bullshit like we got last year about the fucking turf. I don't want anything interfering. I don't want weather. I want it indoors. I want everyone to be healthy. I want it to be on the best turf possible so we can see the best two fucking teams go at each other at the same time.
Why do you think they're not going to have another one here?
The fucking city can't handle it. It was too
The weather, number one. doesn't
Exactly.
Approve for it
exactly.
because nobody wants to walk around when there's a foot of snow and it's fucking -5 out.
There's a story behind that though.
No.
Can I tell you?
fans will, though.
You know what ruined it for the fucking cold weather cities, Uncle Sam?
Yeah, the Pontiac Silverdome.
No,
many, many
because
years ago.
they came back here in Detroit. Detroit was they rave reviewed here as a host. Detroit did really good. But when they went to Minneapolis, whenever that was it 5-10 years ago? They went to Minneapolis. You have to look it up.
The year it opened.
The year it fucking opened. It was so fucking cold in Minneapolis that everyone that went there complained, and the NFL literally said, "We're never doing this in a cold weather city ever again because it's too fucking cold." The writers got to walk around in the cold. The celebrities, no one wants to be in the cold. The hospitality temps, so it's not gonna.
Ain't that kind of fucking ridiculous though?
It is.
Because you're saying all your celebrities don't like the cold weather, this, that, and the other thing, and they all go to Aspen every year.
I think
So that makes no
People
sense.
travel for the fucking Winter Olympics.
they should. It's different than the
Close.
fucking Super Bowl. That's
like-
it's not that you're not getting fucking Jay-Z and Beyonce and fucking Taylor Swift showing up to the Winter
My
Olympics.
point is, it's not about that.
It's not. It's the fucking NFL. No one fucking gets on their knees and fucking bends over harder than the NFL. You know that. You fucking know that. What's the matter with you?
Chargers quarterback Justin Herbert hit IR today. He is out for the season. In a corresponding move, they pulled wide receiver Josh Palmer off of IR. So it's Easton Stick's show the rest of the way now for sure. He did have hand surgery. So Herbert done for the season. Bears defensive end Yannick Ngakoue broke his ankle Sunday against the Lions. He is now out for the season. Minnesota has announced that quarterback Josh Dobbs will be benched and that Nick Mullins, barring injury, will be the starter for the rest of the year.
Makes sense. Nick Mullins should have been the guy in there from the beginning. I don't know why he wasn't playing over Josh Dobbs. Josh Dobbs didn't even know the system. They got lucky. They won the 2 games they won with him.
Yeah,
You know,
I think it's
he didn't know. He doesn't know anybody on the team. Barely knew the system, and the guy pulled out 2 wins. Yeah,
It says more
think
about
that's
their fucking
amazing.
opponents. It says more about their fucking opponents that couldn't stop the guy that came in the middle of the week than it does about Dobbs and Nick Mullins.
Well, he didn't do that. He did that twice, not once. He did that with the
did.
Cardinals too.
He did.
Walked in there and showed them how to do it too. So
and the last little bit of news before we get into the Monday night.
don't think that the Vikings don't have a quarterback. Mullins is serviceable.
Dude, come on.
He's serviceable, dude. Serviceable guy.
Before we get into our Monday night recap, the NFC and AFC players of the week were announced. The AFC player of the week, New York Jets quarterback Zach Wilson.
Hey, tell me who the fucking NFC offensive player of the week was.
NFC offensive player of the week,
Brock Purdy.
New York Giants quarterback Tommy DeVito.
I
Tommy
can't believe they
fucking
picked him over
Cutlets.
Brock Purdy.
Tommy fucking
I'm sorry,
Cutlets
Super Bowl
in prime
champion
time.
MVP Brock Purdy.
In fucking
and
prime
Super
time.
Bowl MVP.
Beat the
thought
fucking
fucking Dak
Packers.
It's
Prescott.
not supposed to be, runner-up,
Yeah.
MVP.
What happened to Dak Prescott?
huh?
He had a great game, no? So did Purdy last week. I don't get it.
You don't want to know why?
You
Because
gotta
real,
fucking capitalize
real-
on Tommy fucking DeVito. The league knows. The league knows where the fucking money is.
real recognizes real. And that's why we're going to recap Monday Night Football now. And we're going to start off at MetLife Stadium where the New York Giants and Tommy fucking DeVito hosted Jordan Love and the Green Bay Packers in a game that was awesome to watch. New York defeats Green Bay 24-22 on a tremendous last-minute drive from DeVito. Also, who's their kicker again? Because I'm having a moment. Randy Bullock.
Former Lion, Randy Bullock.
Randy Bullock is a thick motherfucker. He looked like a sausage in its casing in that uniform.
He had all the fucking gabagool before the
He's a
fucking
thick
game.
dude. And honest to God, I didn't have a whole lot of faith in him walking out there to kick that field goal, but he knocked it right through, wins the game.
Tommy D put him in good fucking position. He
At
was
least
always
his
gonna
coach
hit it.
ain't afraid to kick a field goal at that point.
Tommy DeVito, 17 for 21 for 158 yards and a touchdown. That's a QBR of 114. He also had 71 yards rushing. Saquon Barkley, 20 for 86 and 2 tuds on the ground. Isaiah Hodgins had the lone touchdown reception. He also had 1 other catch, combined for 22 yards. Wan'Dale Robinson led the team in receiving, 6 for 79 for him. Jordan Love, on the other hand, 25 for 39, 218 yards, a touchdown interception. That's a QBR of 76.
He's a fucking bitch.
A.J. Dillon, 15 for 53 on the ground. Jaden Reed continued his rushing touchdown streak, 4 for 38 and a touchdown on the ground. Tucker Kraft led the team in receiving yardage after he had a big 43-yard grab. He was 4 for 64.
They call him Tucker Kraft because they fucking eat Kraft macaroni like fucking losers over there in Green Bay. That's why they call him Tucker Kraft.
Jaden Reed had 8 receptions in this one on 10 targets. What's going on with the Giants right now? We all wrote them off. And the worst part about this is you have a quarterback that you just paid buku money to, who went 1-5, to have the guy who's eating chicken in his mother's basement that he shares with his brother come in and win 3 games.
Hey, how many fucking primetime wins does Daniel Jones have? Look it up. When was the last time Danny fucking Dimes won on Monday Night Football? Don't waste your time. He never has. Tommy DeVito's 1-0. Nothing more to say. Tommy fucking primetime. He did it again. He's going to go into New
You
Orleans.
don't have any pressure on you, dude.
Whatever. He fucking came in and won. He beat a hot fucking team in prime time. That's all that matters. He played like fucking chicken palm fresh out of the fucking oven on fucking Christmas morning. That's how Tommy DeVito fucking played. The offense is tailored around him perfectly. There's nothing they could do to stop him. Jordan Love this, Jordan Love that. Jordan Love looked like a little fucking bitch. He's trash. Don't even get me started on Jordan Love. He's back down there. He's nothing more than fucking Matthew Stafford throwing the fucking ball away. The fucking Packers defense couldn't stop Saquon, and they couldn't stop fucking Tommy Cutlets, and that's all that matters.
Obviously, this is a very important Giants win for the Lions. Green Bay now 6-7, dropped back below Minnesota. They're now in third with the tiebreakers. The Giants now, though, at 5-8, putting together something. They're kind of just outside of this playoff hunt now, only being one game behind your Green Bays and who else is
Minnesota? Fuck 'em.
Minnesota 6-7. They're only a game back from being in serious wild card contention here. Like, you got to figure right now, Green Bay at 6-7, the Rams at 6-7, Seattle at 6-7, and two of your NFC South teams at 6-7. If one game goes their way here going forward, that shouldn't. The Giants could find themselves in the hunt for a playoff spot.
Well, all they're going to do is basically go on the road to either fucking San Francisco or Philadelphia or Dallas.
And, I mean, going forward, this is the Giants' schedule. At New Orleans, at Philly, at home against the Rams, at home against Philly. So,
I think I give a fuck about Philly.
You'll see
Sirianni's a fucking embarrassment to our people.
Few games.
well, yeah, because, I mean, if they can beat New Orleans, beat the Rams, and split with Philadelphia, which I don't know if I see that happening, but they're right there in the
I would
playoff
take the Rams
mix.
over them right now.
You would.
Oh, yeah. I'm pretty. I think the Rams are going to be making it into the playoffs.
Listen, here's the fucking deal.
That's my opinion.
The story here is the fucking Packers. They're a fucking joke. They did it again. They choked again. That's all they do is fucking choke. And they get fucking lucky. They almost got fucking lucky again. That's a bullshit call. The ground can cause a fumble, but if he's untouched and he falls fucking forward, it can't cause the fumble. What's the difference? That's bullshit. That should have been down. They got lucky. They had no fucking business being in the game. They almost backed into another win. But Tommy fucking Cutlets was there to put an end to that shit. All he needed, they said, hey, you got minute 50. All he needed was a minute, and he fucking drove the field. Boom, Randy Bullock, done. We're going home.
You have to figure about the Packers, because that's true. The Packers are choke artists against poop teams, it seems like. Their last 7 games, they lost to Minnesota, and then they blew out the Rams 20-3. Lost to Pittsburgh. Come back, beat the Chargers, beat Detroit, and beat Kansas City, only to lose to the Giants. It just doesn't make sense.
Whatever. It says more about Kansas City and Detroit. They're going to fix this shit. Fuck the Packers. They're going to win another game. I don't fucking care. They can get in all they want. Jordan Love ain't shit.
The other Monday night game, the way that it ended, Miami was up 2 touchdowns, covering the 13.5, and in the last 2 minutes of the game, it all just fell apart. Will Levis led Tennessee down the field, and Tennessee won this game down in Miami 28-27. Miami put up 17 in the fourth quarter and still managed to lose this game. Tua, 23 for 33, 240 yards. It's a 90 QBR. He also had a fumble and 15 yards on the ground. Raheem Mostert, 21 for 96 and 2 touchdowns. Devon Achane, 7 for 47 on the ground. Achane also had 24 receiving yards. Jalen Waddle, 6 for 79. The biggest piece of news out of this game, though, when Tyreek Hill went down, that Miami offense did not know what to do with them.
I think they got away from doing something they were pretty successful at. I was running the football. I thought Mostert was really effective.
I agree.
And they kind of went away
1000%.
from fucking doing that and trying to throw the ball on unnecessary downs. I just think it was stupid.
I'm with you.
I think that was a coaching thing.
Oh, you're back?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
I'm with
Well,
you.
I'm.
Said through.
I just think that McDaniels kind of shit the bed there.
And on top of that, it puts Tua on that list of quarterbacks that we've talked about all year that you don't want playing from behind. And if they don't have the tempo of the game in their hands, it just changes everything. Can we talk about Will Levis?
Yeah, Will Levis, 23 for 38.
Hold on. He had a thought.
No, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No, I don't think that Tua's a bad come from behind guy. You got Tariq Hill, you can come from behind.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have him.
They didn't
Guess
have
what?
Any of those received, but Waddle should be able to.
And he was
recover
banged up too. So I don't. I just think they got away from doing was what they were succeeding at, and that was running the football. They had no answer for that. A-Chain, you said it yourself. What he had, 7 carries? He had
7 carries, 47 yards. He
47
averaged
yards.
7 yards per carry.
That's 7 yards per carry. And Mostert, I don't even know what
21
Mostert
for
had.
96. It's 4.7 yards per carry.
Yeah. It didn't matter because they were running effective against a good run-stuffing defense, and they were punching it down their throat. And for some reason, they kept calling stupid. Their offensive line in the second half was not holding up well. And
No.
for them to keep doing what they were doing was stupid.
You want to know what I noticed about this Miami team? And I thought they missed more than anything else. They realistically could not get pressure on Will Levis, even
say
with
Phillips?
Tennessee's shitty offensive line. I think that they are missing Jalen Phillips massively already because they're just not.
Didn't they sign someone too? Didn't they bring someone in?
They signed some fucking has-been this week. I have to look. Melvin Ingram.
Melvin Ingram.
I mean, yeah, you're dealing with a 35-year-old dude who hasn't played in a year, but they're missing that. And I think that was a huge reason why Will Levis ended this game the way that he did, 23 for 38.
I actually thought Miami's defense was played pretty tough.
They played tough against the run. They held Derrick Henry to 34 yards. They held Tajay Spears to 29 yards.
Tajay Spears did some damage
Through the air.
some damage
6
in the
for
pass game,
89
yeah.
through the air.
And that's a glimpse into the future on that. I've been telling you guys all fucking year with Vrabel. I've been saying it. These guys play hard for him. They do it all the time. I think they have some pieces to work around with in Tennessee that they're going to make a bit more of a. Is there a more intriguing division going forward than the South? AFC South. They're going to have 4 teams that are in the picture next year.
It's going to be a bloodbath going forward.
I thought Levis was an absolute animal too.
He looked great. He did. And Will Levis right now is kind of like, yeah, he's gritty, and yeah, he gives you the Baker Mayfield
He's
vibe.
another Stafford.
But he's the way that Jordan Love has really good games and really bad games. That's Will Levis right now, and it could just be because of how green he is. But you got to give it to him.
That's a
They
big game on the
fucking
road
won that game on their own.
Yeah.
You've got to give it to him.
against a good team.
Correct. Hopkins 7 for 124 yards and a touchdown.
He was money.
I mean, he ate going up against Jalen Ramsey for a good portion of the game. And if Tyreek is healthy and plays the whole game, does it end a little differently? Maybe, yeah. But at the end of the day, you've got to give credit to Will Levis there because he didn't really have a run game. He didn't. He did it all on his shoulders.
Tua was uncomfortable. They were pushing him out of the pocket. They weren't letting him go to his first and second read. That's why he was having issues.
100%.
And that's what happens with those quarterbacks.
I actually thought that Ogba and Chubb put on good pressure on Levis. He stood in the pocket. He took the shots, and he fucking manned up.
So we've seen that this year, like it's happening with Goff right now. We've seen that with these good, not great quarterbacks, and I do think Tua is great. But we've seen that with these quarterbacks this year that are getting complacent, and when they're missing their reads, it's fucking everything. It's messing everything up.
Yeah.
When they can't go through the progressions properly, and that was for sure.
Vrabel
happening.
was smart there. He was bringing it, and then they were dropping that back end in the zone and trying to fucking undercut all the fucking routes too. That was big. So
Yeah.
It wasn't like Waddle and Barrios could just sit down into that little part of the zone either, because there was a guy in front and a guy behind. So whoever that coordinator is over there, he called a fucking great game for Tennessee.
Doesn't Vrabel call the defense?
I don't know if he calls it or if he has somebody call it, but they were pretty impressive. I like what they did. And that's missing Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah.
Missing
Yeah.
Jeffrey
And
Simmons.
that's their best defensive player by far. So
I got a question for you. You're high as fuck on the Dolphins.
I am high as fuck on the Dolphins.
What are you thinking?
I'm not worried about it. That at the end of the day, you always get that game, and this was the
remember that
Dolphins.
door's still open for KC for that.
How about this?
Go through there.
How about this? We'll have some fun with Playoff Machine on Friday, but
Yeah.
how about the Bills? The Bills are not out of it in the division right now.
No, they're not.
Not out of it yet.
No, they're not.
They're a wild card.
But this is that last game of the year, January 7th. It's Buffalo at Miami.
That means everything there.
That's going to mean
I think that could be their first place in the playoffs with Miami, and I think that they could do some serious damage.
you want to know the one thing that I in this for me with the Miami thing, I really believe it. Miami's the team where if they punch somebody in the mouth real good, they come out and look like shit the next week. Like we saw it when they beat fucking Denver 70-50. They came out and got their asshole punched by Buffalo the week after, right? Like they beat Washington 45-15. They come out and get their asshole punched by Tennessee this week.
Yeah.
The bounce back to that, I think that we'll see. They're playing the Jets. I get it. Zach Wilson's had one hot game, and the Jets defense looks like it's back all of a sudden. But I think that this week it comes full circle.
Hold on. Look at their schedule, though, because
Oh, it's awful.
after this, they're all tough. They have Buffalo. They have Dallas.
Jets, Dallas, at Baltimore, at home against Buffalo.
Jets, Dallas, Baltimore. And
Baltimore's the only way.
I think they need to win 2 of those games to guarantee the division, and then they need the Bills to lose 2 games to guarantee the division. That's asking a lot, especially because they're playing each other.
Well, this is the other thing that I was thinking about because I was looking at both these teams' schedules going forward. So Dallas is due for that game. Dallas is due for that shit box game here pretty soon.
They can't run the table into the end of the season. They're going to lose a game.
They're at Buffalo, at Miami the next 2 weeks. They're going to drop one of those 2 games.
100%.
So whichever game that Dallas drops, if it's at Buffalo
They're
or
going to
at
beat
Miami,
the other team.
correct. They'll beat the other one. And that'll have huge ramifications because then, like, if Buffalo loses this week and Miami beats Buffalo, that's it. Or Miami beats Dallas, that's it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not worried about Miami because I don't think they've gone. I don't think we've seen full tilt from them yet.
They have the pieces to fix what's going on.
Correct.
I agree with you there. But also, like, similar as a Lions fan, I've been shitting my pants for 2 weeks. And now, like, after the Packers win, it's less panic mode. But still, my team doesn't look good. If I were a Dolphins fan, I would be shitting my pants at the moment with everything upcoming. And you have a chance to choke everything away. The whole thing, it just puts in perspective. Everything is just so fucked at the top of the AFC right now.
Well,
it's such a mess.
That was going to be my next question. If you're a fan of blank team, are you more worried than a fan of this team? Kansas City, Miami. If you're the Kansas City fan base or the Miami fan base, who right now is more nervous?
I think
Miami.
No, I disagree. I think given the context, it's Kansas City because they've exclusively played like shit, and you're used to your team playing a certain way.
Yeah, but it's in public now. They'll get it. You know what? I have more faith in them getting it together
In Miami, I agree with that.
just because of the experience factor.
I agree with that.
Can I throw
They got all
some?
these Super Bowl fucking what?
Well, they have Mahomes.
Bowls?
They have Mahomes. I still wouldn't bet against Mahomes, who's quietly had a very good year considering how fucking bad their pass
And they've
catchers
been
have
to
been.
3 Super Bowls. It's not like these guys don't have the experience in the big games.
But if we're playing they've been to 3 Super Bowl game.
Yeah.
It means they're unlikely. You know, they're not the Patriots.
No, I didn't say they were, but I mean, you could say Pat Mahomes is in his prime.
I'm betting on Mahomes and I'm betting on Andy Reid.
Can I give you
betting
an
on
unpopular opinion here?
Go ahead.
All this noise came out again about Bill Belichick this week, and you have this kind of like semi-unravel happening in Kansas City. How much of a perfect story would it be for Andy Reid to go to Kansas City this week after it all comes out that Bill Belichick is out and somehow the 3-10 Patriots and Bailey Zappi slap Pat Mahomes right across the mouth?
I don't think they have the personnel to do it. That's the difference.
As a personal thing, to be honest with you, I would love to see Bill Belichick win out.
And their wins, the Patriots
That's just
wins.
my opinion.
The Patriots wins, other than the Bills, who were in disarray at the time, the Patriots wins have come at the expense of the disarray that their opponents are in. I don't think the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are they're not necessarily beating themselves, but I don't think that the Patriots have the personnel to beat the they needed Mitch Trubisky or what's his face to come in order to get a win, or who's the other quarterback that I can't stand? Kenny Pickett. They needed one of those two guys to be quarterbacking for them to get their win that they got last week, and they got it. I don't think Pat Mahomes is going to be the one to lie over for the Patriots, but you're right. I could see it. I could see Belichick coming out with that fire.
The last 2 years, the Patriots have been in rebuild mode. I don't think there's a team that's lost more than they have within a 2-year span.
Can I?
I just don't think there's a team that's lost that much. Not only at key positions, but at offensive line, at defensive line. They lost key components the last 5 years. So that's kind of why that team's in fucking limbo right now. They haven't been able to replace Brady.
You want to know which team?
They haven't been able to replace the offensive line guys that they lost, that basically retired. They haven't been able to replace their best wide receiver, who just retired after the Super Bowl. They haven't replaced their fucking all-pro tight end that fucking basically jumped ship and went to fucking Tampa. They haven't been able to replace all that stuff. And they've tried. It's not like they haven't tried. They brought guys in, Hunter Henry.
They've tried.
Gesicki. They've brought
tried,
guys in.
But from a draft standpoint, that's the most arrogant talent evaluating franchise on the planet. They're extremely arrogant.
I kind of agree with that. They like what they like. No different than Brad Holmes likes what he likes.
I think
all of us
they
might
had
not agree
something-
with it.
I think they had something in Christian Gonzalez. I think because it's their highest pick in years, and I think they actually had something good there. He just got injured.
Yeah.
So they just need to start accumulating. Like, it's going to be a process. Like, they first need a quarterback, and then they need to go through and accumulate the picks,
And
and
they
they need to
haven't
draft
been
well.
picking high in the fucking draft either.
Well, yeah, it's a part
I mean,
of it.
this was the highest they've picked in how many years?
A long time.
What did they pick it?
A long time.
15 or something like that this year?
Yeah.
When they took Gonzalez? Mm-hmm. That's the highest they picked in years.
Jumping back to Kansas City real quick. I said I can't remember. It must have been either Monday or Friday, right? That I thought, I was looking at the Kansas City schedule and I was like, none of this matters anyways, because it was like my philosophy on the Lions, right? As long as the Lions beat Minnesota twice, nothing matters. I could see a situation where the Chiefs go 2-2 to finish out the year. If the Chiefs team that we saw against Buffalo, right? Because we talked about this with the Lions, right? If the Lions team that we saw this week comes out, they could go 0-4. But the most likely scenario is 2-2. I'll be honest with you. What do you always say about divisional games?
Tough games.
Tough games. They play the Raiders and the Chargers to finish out the year. Chargers no longer matters.
Chargers, I wouldn't worry about. The Raiders.
That Raiders game, that's going to be their Super Bowl.
The Raiders, by the way, are talking about switching back to either Brian Hoyer or Garoppolo. They're talking about that.
To be honest with you, they should have just finished the year out with Garoppolo.
Yeah,
I get it. They were trying to see what they have in.
They might,
and
they might finish out the year with Garoppolo still.
In fairness to your theory, that could easily be the case. That could easily be the case where they could go 0-4.
And Jake Browning looks hot right now. And I think that there's something to be said about this New England. I don't know. I am more sold right now, and I am less worried about the Dolphins than I am about the Chiefs. Personally.
I'm worried about the Dolphins for one reason only. They showed me that Mike McDaniels is not the total fucking genius that everybody thinks he is.
See, I think
because he kind of overthought that game and kind of coached his way out of it.
Yeah, but all good coaches will do that. That's the thing, right?
Well, Kyle Shanahan's been doing it for decades.
Correct.
But, I mean,
McVay's had his fair share of overthinking. Yeah.
Sometimes you got to just kind of let it play out.
Yeah, I think it's the greenness.
And I think Dan Campbell needs to go home tonight, take a long look in the mirror and say, you know what? We're going to get physical and we're going to punch teams in the mouth and we're going to be tough and show grit and run the ball 40 fucking times this week.
Hey,
That's
man.
what needs to fucking happen.
No, he does.
That's what needs to happen against a team that Russell Wilson will fucking absolutely dagger punch your asshole if you don't control the line of scrimmage.
He won't just punch your asshole, he'll dagger punch your asshole.
Dagger
Yes.
punch.
What is a dagger punch? A punch with a dagger?
Yeah.
That'd
Punch
be-
with the
that-
dagger
that
in your
would
hand through
fucking
your
suck.
ass.
Now, because Mike McDaniel, Dan Campbell, you can blame that shit on the fact that they're still green. And when it gets down to it in those kind of
I don't think that Dan Campbell is green anymore. This is his third year, correct?
yes.
He's green.
It's his third year. He's not fucking green.
He's
He's
green.
been a coach for well over a decade. He's not green, dude.
Getting play as a head coach, getting playoff experience and getting all that, I think that 100% matters. And I would argue that Mike McDaniels is green. I would argue that Dan Campbell's green. You know, there's guys like that weren't at one point, like a Vrabel. At one point, Vrabel was green, but then he made a run into the playoffs. I wouldn't consider him a green coach anymore. But there's guys
No,
that
but
you
he's
got
also
to get
been
to.
a head coach for that team for how long now?
Yeah, but it
Almost a
took
decade?
It took him three. I don't know about almost a decade, but it took him 3 or 4 years.
How long has he been at Tennessee for?
Vrabel.
Yeah.
6 or 7
years?
years, maybe. I don't know if
9
it was
years?
a decade.
Vrabel.
No, because he was at Ohio State in 2015.
Mike Vrabel?
Yeah, he was on Urban staff. That was where
didn't
he
think he
was.
was.
I don't know if he was.
No, he was the
2018,
linebacker
2018,
coach for the Texans.
He was with the Patriots and Ohio State before he got
5
to
years. He's in year 5.
Oh.
Year 6, excuse me.
year 6.
Year 6.
Shout out to Z.
We have a Thursday night game to preview too, but before we do that, we have some NFL just came out with all of the playoff clinching scenarios. If Baltimore wins at Jacksonville this weekend, and Denver loses, essentially, they're in. Baltimore will be in the playoffs. And again, we'll go over this in further detail. If Dallas wins, they're in. If Philadelphia wins, they're in. If Detroit wins with a
They have to
Seattle
win 2 games in their. and
No,
they
this is just
clinch
to
the
get in.
division.
This is just to get in.
to guarantee a playoff spot. If Detroit wins with a Seattle loss and a Green Bay loss, they're in. Dallas obviously wins, they're in. Philly wins, they're in. San Francisco wins, they're in. Or if the Rams lose,
I thought San Francisco already clinched
no, they have not clinched yet.
a playoff spot.
Nope.
thought
I
they
have the
did.
Lions full chart right here. If you want me to, I'm not going.
Well,
to
I
walk through the
saw
whole
it
thing.
earlier. I saw it earlier.
I'm not going to walk through the whole thing, but they have a 100% chance to win the division, no matter what. If they win 2 games, unless it only goes down to 83% because they would need some help from Green Bay at that point. But unless they lose at Minnesota, which is next week, if they win at Minnesota, that's one of the best things they could do is the win next week at Minnesota. Obviously, if they win this week and they win at Minnesota, fun fact, the Lions win the division with the Packers loss. They win the next 2. They could literally wrap the division up on Christmas Eve. They control their own destiny. All they have to do is win the next 2. Do I think they're going to win the next 2? No, I don't. But if they win the next 2, they win the division.
There it is. See, I don't think we'll talk about this more Friday, but I don't know if that Denver game is as interesting as everybody really thinks it is right now. I just weird feeling for me.
I think you panic too late, though.
Me?
Yeah. I
really
think you're just
think
the
so.
polar opposite of him, and you panic a little bit later than you should. I think the Lions are shit right now, but they could fix everything. I think almost everything is fixable. And it's fixable to the point where not only should they beat Denver this weekend, they should fucking blow them out. But we have people calling in this town that are like, I want Jared Goff dead. I want his head on a platter, and I want Hendon Hooker to start.
You know, that article that I saw was the 49ers can win the division with a win and a Rams loss. They are already in the playoffs. So there's been a lot of talk about Kareem Jackson this year, who's been suspended multiple times for unsportsmanlike conduct.
Yeah, it's
or big
bullshit.
hits.
I think it's ridiculous.
Well, he had a meeting with Roger Goodell.
Did he tell Roger? Did he fucking ass punch Roger Goodell? He should have punched him in his mouth and told him quit making his sport into a fucking goddamn pancake league, patty cake league.
He made a statement today, and he said that Roger Goodell told Kareem Jackson that he is responsible for the protection of the offensive guys. And then he went on to say that he was not sure how he can protect himself, make plays, and also protect the offensive player, but that's what he was told to do. Kareem then followed up.
Does that sound utterly ridiculous to anybody? Or
Yes.
He then followed up by saying he doesn't know what to do moving forward playing the game because he doesn't know how to play it any other way than he is now.
I don't blame him. If I was him right now, I would just do this. I would get into the next game, play my hardest, do what I always do, and let the chips fall. That's what I would do.
You know who else this happened
And at the
to?
end of the year, I would publicly come out, tell everybody how crooked the NFL is, what a fucking goddamn asshole Roger Goodell is, and then I'd retire.
You know, you'll appreciate this. You know who else this happened to like a decade ago?
It happened to Vontaze Burfict.
Close, and it did. But there's
Did happen to Vontaze
But there's
Burfict.
one I'm thinking of
They
in
drove him
particular.
out of the league.
It did. There's one more I'm thinking of, though. It happened to James Harrison.
Yeah, but his was a little bit different. Harrison's was a little bit different.
It caused him to stop playing the way he was playing and eventually led to his demise, though.
It led to him just basically retiring.
Yeah.
Because he didn't want to fucking play in it no more. And I don't blame them guys. I don't blame the Burficts for retiring when you're going to get fined more than your salary is. I mean, come on, man. What the fuck are we doing here? You know, listen. I think the NFL is over officiated, overruled, and they don't let these guys play. And this is why you see the rash of injuries. This shit would not happen if you let these guys play the way they were taught when they started playing in Pee Wee, to play 100%. Because if you go 50%, you're going to get hurt. Everybody's going 50% now, and everybody gets hurt. That and playing on AstroTurf, which they should outlaw. They should outlaw the artificial turf.
Just so you know, so far this year, his 6-game suspension and fines.
Yeah, it's probably more than his salary.
Well, no, it has totaled $1.8 million
Okay,
to miss the 6 games plus the fines.
correct.
Yeah, just
Yeah, what's his salary for the year? 6 million?
2.5.
2.5. There you go. His whole salary went to fucking stupid fucking.
Excuse me, 2.7.
All right, he made 2.7. So what did he pay in fines? 1.5?
1.5.
There you go.
1.4.
There you go.
But yeah.
More than half his salary went to stupid bullshit
No, the
fucking
fines
roughing calls.
fines totaled $90,000, but the 6-game suspension cost him
Well, that cost him money too.
$1 million.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. It's ridiculous. I think it's bullshit. It wasn't worth. If you seen the plays that he was actually getting fucking called for, I would say 1 out of the 4 was probably a little too much. 1 out of the 4.
You guys want to preview Thursday night?
Sure. I don't know why, but sure.
All right, Thursday night football. Live on Amazon. We have
Divisional game.
the Los Angeles Chargers and Easton Stick are heading to the Las Vegas Strip Allegiant Stadium to play, as of right now, Aiden O'Connell and the Las Vegas Raiders. Big piece of injury news in this game. Brennan Staley has come out and said that Keenan Allen is officially out for the Thursday night game. So throw that on top of Justin Herbert. Gerald Everett, the big tight end, is questionable. The other tight end. Are you good right now? Donald Parham also questionable going into this game. Josh Jacobs, they have not confirmed whether him or Max Crosby will play this Thursday. Both are going into this one questionable. Josh Jacobs more questionable than Crosby, as
Crosby
he
will play.
did not practice today.
He's a baller.
Yeah, I'm with you. Crosby's going to play. He's
He's going to play.
Nothing keeping
Ain't
him.
nothing going to keep that motherfucker off the field.
Let's get a hypothetical here. If we don't have Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, Josh Jacobs in this game, what's the point of watching it? And you want to know something?
It's a divisional game.
Vegas is a 2.5 point favorite. The over-under, and nobody would have expected this at the beginning of the year, 34.5.
Garoppolo's going to start or no?
As of right now, As of
Aiden O'Connell.
right now,
I
it's
was going
Aiden
to say if
O'Connell.
Garoppolo starting, I would take the Raiders
Well, yeah, I mean,
because I think he's their best chance.
he's got to beat Easton Stick, right? He's got to beat Easton Stick right now.
I didn't think he played all that bad. I mean, for when he was in
Who?
there, Stick.
I mean, it's
You know,
Easton
he's got no
Stick.
experience, dude.
It's Easton Stick.
You never know. You might get another Devito performance.
You might get another
See,
TDVD.
that's what's hard is hard to pick in this game right now because you don't know what you're getting. I mean, everybody thought that Danny DeVito. I personally, the first game I seen Danny DeVito
You
in,
said
I thought
on
he was
this
the most
mic-
awful quarterback I've ever seen.
You said on this microphone, Danny DeVito is
Was
the worst
dog shit.
fucking quarterback I've ever seen play an NFL game.
yes,
Here we
and
are.
then the next week,
3
the next
fucking wins
week,
later.
Brock Purdy jumped into his body and he became Christ.
Okay. Let's have a real conversation before we pick this game. Is there any scenario at all where Danny Dimes, okay, gets paid all that money, shits the bed, and gets hurt again? Because he shit the bed before he got hurt. Shit the bed, got blown the fuck out in multiple games with Daniel Jones at the end of this year. And maybe Tommy DeVito is not the answer forever, but going forward in a different direction.
I don't know.
See.
They continue to win games. I would say I would be worried if I was Daniel Jones getting my job back.
I never
That's
questioned.
basically what happened to
I
Trey
never
Lance.
fucking questioned the idea of Danny Dimes not being the quarterback of the Giants next year. I never questioned that. They're going to move on from him at some point. They know that was a fucking abysmal contract and they shouldn't have signed him. But guess what? Cutlass.
They owe Daniel Jones $36 million next year, fully guaranteed.
Just think about it. The San Francisco 49ers were in the same position that the
Giants.
Giants are right now. The only difference is they drafted a fucking guy and just started playing him, and he was successful.
Yes, but is there any team in the league right now that would trade for Daniel Jones, having missed another year,
Yes.
and owing him $36 million, fully guaranteed?
Yeah,
Yes.
you know what? I would say this, and I'll say this right now. I think the Atlanta Falcons would love to have Daniel Jones at this point.
That's
God.
That's a great spot.
You don't think I'm wrong?
No, I don't.
I bet you they wish they had a guy that was as good as Daniel Jones behind center.
I'd have to think about it, and I'm sure there's more teams, but just off the rip right now, Atlanta would be a great fit for Daniel Jones, or at least someone that
Yeah.
they could take a flyer on.
Yeah.
Someone that they could take a flyer on. Can we have this conversation very briefly?
Hey, don't tell me that Mike Tomlin would like him in Pittsburgh. I bet
See,
you
it's
take
another-
Daniel
that's
Jones
another-
over fucking Kenny Pickett.
My man's on fire over there. I agree with you 100%. And there's other teams. There's other teams that just aren't coming to mind right now,
New
but
England?
but there's other teams.
New England,
New England,
fucking Seattle.
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 I'd take Daniel Jones over fucking clusterfuck over there, Geno
Geno
Smith.
Cluster.
Minnesota.
Oh, would you
Oakland.
take
Minnesota?
Would you take
Vegas.
Daniel Jones over Drew Lock though?
Yes,
Tampa.
absolutely.
I still think Daniel Jones sucks. I just think that
Yeah,
this
you're
is a
right.
case
I just
study.
think he's more
Desperation.
serviceable than those other guys.
This is a case study, right? He's right. This is a case study right now, as in someone would trade for him, hypothetically. There's someone.
Okay,
the Giants retain some salary, and
and
someone
that same
gives a
thing.
day two pick.
I've been hearing a lot of fucking rumors about possibly Detroit trying to dump Jared Goff somewhere and
I don't think they'll.
trying to play the rest of the year out with Hendon Hooker.
Those aren't rumors. Those are fan theories because they don't like how Goff has played the last month.
Correct.
But I want to do this real quick. Go ahead. You first.
Go ahead. No,
No, you first.
I'm going to be honest with you. They got him under contract for one more year.
Goff.
okay.
You're talking about Goff?
Goff.
Mm-hmm.
He's under contract next year. At this point, do you give him an extension?
Yes.
Do you give him an extension from what you've seen out of him?
100%.
I mean, let's say, okay, hypothetically, let's say they win the division.
Mm-hmm.
They win it. They get a playoff game. Let's say they
the
win.
playoff game.
Let's say they win a playoff game.
He gets whatever.
Go to
he
the
wants.
next round and get punched.
He gets whatever he wants. You don't think twice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Now, let's
he
say
gets
they
50
win the
million a year.
division.
Yep.
They go into the playoffs. They get bounced in the first round.
Who do they play?
I don't know.
Okay.
Whoever they play.
Okay. All right.
Because we don't know if they're a 2 or 3 seed yet.
they're going to
So
be a 3. I think they're.
I think they're going to be a
if
3
if
also.
they win the division, they're pretty much locked into the 3.
Correct. So they're a 3 seed. So they're playing the fifth seed,
They would play the 6.
sixth seed.
It'd be Green Bay, Minnesota, or the Rams as it stands right
Yeah, one
now
of those three.
on this
Let's
day.
say hypothetically they play the Rams, and Matt Stafford
Can't
comes here
happen.
and punches them in the ass.
Doesn't matter. You still pay.
Hold on. They get punched in the ass by Matt Stafford, knocked out of the fucking playoffs. At this point, is it worth for you to invest that money into a guy that has so many limitations that you're not going to be able to play to his strengths anymore, when you could be using his departure as more capital to move on and go into a different direction to grab somebody that's more updated, more serviceable, that can actually move and take over games in more than one way?
You first, Sam. Go ahead.
No. You pay him whatever
Okay.
he wants. If you win the division and you host a home playoff game, you pay him whatever he wants. Because hypothetically, let's say they go out and they're what? They have 9 wins right now?
9.
Okay, let's say they win 2. So they're an 11-win football team and they win the division. They host a playoff game. And regardless of what happens in that playoff game, they hosted a playoff game. If they win it, it's a no questions asked. You pay him. If they lose, I think you have to take into account the fashion in which they lose it, and you have to take into account what the team that beat them does going forward. That's all here. That's all neither here nor there in my mind, because if you bring in, when you're saying somebody with less limitations, so you're saying Hendon Hooker.
No, I'm saying somebody that actually can move around and create things, which Jared Goff cannot.
Someone like
Jared Goff,
Hendon
you
Hooker.
have to have a top 5 offensive line,
Mm-hmm.
and you have to have weapons around him for him to be successful.
Yes, but you've got that.
But
So why would you tear
but
it?
you don't have that.
You do
That's
have
the
it.
problem.
You do have
Yeah,
it.
but by next year you don't have that
Okay,
anymore.
so can I ask you a question?
What I'm saying is, moving forward, you could use his departure because you're going to get hypothetically a 3rd round pick for him.
Yes, but
Okay.
you're on the cusp. Okay?
But yeah,
You're on the cusp.
I think you're on the cusp.
So hypothetically, I'm going to ask you this.
Okay.
Would you rather get rid of Goff and bring in 2 first-round picks, or would you rather keep Goff, sign Mike Evans, and put your draft capital into the offensive line?
Well, regardless, you're going to have to put your draft capital in the offensive line
Correct.
because you're going to have to replace
But-
Decker. You have to pay Sewell. You have to pay a lot of guys coming up here.
I've got news for you. I will take Jared Goff and a big free agent signing over getting rid of Jared Goff, having Hendon Hooker go out there and win 6 or 7 games next year, and getting 2 first-round draft picks.
So why wait till now for the free agent signing? Why not bring it in at?
Because if they would have went out last year, and if they would have came out this year and won 6 fucking games and lost the division to Minnesota, then you don't bring Goff back. But right now, there's no. At the end of the day, whatever happens with the Lions this year, this again, the expectations, you've got to reel them back in. They beat Chiefs week 1, your expectations doubled, right? Then they went 3-1 and 3-1 through the first 2 quarters of the year, and the expectations doubled, right? So we have way over the moon expectations for a team that this year everybody thought was an 11 or 12 win team, and now that they're meeting our expectations, we're disappointed because everything went to the moon real fast. At the end of the day, before the year started, I had them at an 11 or 12 win team. I said it on here. They're going to meet those expectations. They're going to win the division. They are not a Super Bowl caliber team. That's where all this gets twisted. If they make the right moves in the offseason, they can come back next year and be a Super Bowl caliber team. But that was not this year. So because they met the expectation that everybody should have had set for them this year, you continue to go forward with it. If they would have won 7 or 8 games and had a wild card spot and got their asshole punched by Philadelphia or Dallas in the first round, then no, you don't. But they're meeting the expectations that should have been set for them. And for that, Goff should be rewarded, and they should continue to build on what they have. You're not in a situation where you win 11 games, you host a playoff game, and if the playoff game doesn't go your way, you tear the entire thing down. Because
Nobody's
if you're
talking
gonna,
about tearing the entire thing
if
down.
you're letting Goff go,
What we're
you've got
talking about is obviously Goff ran out of town in L.A. for a reason. Because Goff,
Because-
McVay, obviously seeing that Goff could not take them any further than what they were.
Because they didn't have any money to spend on anybody else.
No, that's not true.
Yes, it is.
It's not true.
There's
Not
3
true.
guys on the
Not
Rams.
true because they spent all that money after Goff was gone.
They did
I
not.
don't believe that for one
Aaron
minute.
Donald's been getting paid $30 million a year
they
since
paid
Goff
Matt
was there.
Stafford fucking double what they paid Jared Goff. What are you talking about?
I'm aware, but they couldn't bring in anything else to help Goff, is what I'm saying. What they had is what they
All right,
got.
well, wait a minute now. That's kind of interesting what you just said. What if they would have continued on with Goff and added the pieces that they added that year that they won the fucking Super Bowl? You don't think Jared Goff with Cooper Kupp could have took them to a Super Bowl?
I do think he
I
would.
think
I
Jared
believe they
Goff.
could have.
I think
Correct.
Jared Goff wins that Super Bowl.
Jared
with
Goff
the same
wins that
personnel.
Super
with
Bowl with
Von
the same
Miller,
team.
Odell Beckham.
Thank you.
I think Jared
Thank
Goff
you.
wins that Super
I'm
Bowl.
saying the same thing. But it's obviously what you need around Jared Goff to make them a winner. The difference is this. Detroit will never have the defense that the Rams have.
Yeah, but you don't know that.
I do know
You
that.
don't know
They'll
that.
never have that caliber of defense because they don't have the personnel. They didn't have the money to bring in the free agents.
Guess what?
So I don't believe
You're saying that now, but look at Philadelphia's defense 3 years ago to what it was last year. It took 2 years. Philadelphia got their asshole thumped by Tampa Bay in the wild card round 2 years ago.
Philadelphia's also the team that went in there and beat fucking New England. So I don't know what you mean.
Yes,
there.
but that defense was depleted after that Super Bowl win. It was down to
That's
nothing.
a different Philly team
and
than
they
the current
built
Philly
it
team.
No, because
completely back up in
defense
2 years.
that defense that wound up beating them are basically the same core guys.
It's
are
Fletcher
still there.
Cox.
Fletcher Cox
dude.
and Brandon Graham. That's
it.
literally
They
it.
tore
It's
the
just
thing
those two guys.
completely down and rebuilt it. And if the Lions build their defense properly and trim some fat, there's no question in my mind they could be a Super Bowl caliber team this year. The offense is there. They need one more option on offense, and they need to build up the defense. And you're there. If you take Goff out of the Lions scenario right now, okay? I get it. He hasn't played that great for the last 3 games. If you take Goff out of there right now, you're Houston. You're Houston. They are. They're Houston. Houston has an average defense at times with a couple of playmakers, and they have good receiving targets. You're Houston with a better run game if you put Hendon Hooker in there. And you're going to win 7 or 8 games next year.
And a quarterback who can hit J-Mo.
Can I go?
Go ahead.
So I'm going to take the easy way out here, and you guys are going to love this. You're both right. You're both on the right track. You're both 100%. I'll start with Sam because it's the easier one. Their goal this year was to win the division and then see what happens. They have a very good chance to win the division and see what happens. If he wins the division, I'm probably about 75% sure he's getting that extension. If he wins the division and wins the home playoff game, he'll be signed maybe even in the week leading up to the second playoff game. Because the bar is low here. It's the same with Dan Campbell. It's the same for Brad Holmes. The bar is extremely low, and it's an easy bar to hit. Therefore, he will get signed if he wins. But this is where you're right. The Hendon Hooker pick said a lot. And Brad Holmes' quote, which I said the other day, is it's easier to get worse in this league at quarterback than it is to get better. But it doesn't back you up like you think it does. What they did is they're doing the new normal, which is called trying to win the lottery in the NFL. The new normal in the NFL is if, God forbid, if you hit on one of these rookie quarterbacks on a rookie deal, you're going to maximize your window to win going forward. I think at some point, especially if Goff continues to flounder, which I personally don't think is going to happen. I do think they're going to write it. But at some point, they're going to want to see what Hendon Hooker is capable of. And I do think it's specifically Hendon Hooker. It's not just any guy.
Yeah, listen, you don't blow a 3rd-round pick on a guy that you don't think can play.
I agree.
That's
You know what
my
they're
opinion.
thinking with Hendon Hooker? You know what's the literal recipe for Hendon Hooker? It's Brock Purdy. You got a guy in the end of the draft that you have on a rookie deal for 4 years, and you're able to maximize everything else now and pay everyone else. You have Jalen Hurts. It was the same thing. You got him on a rookie deal. You lucked out. You didn't have to pay him top-end money, and you're going to maximize everything else around him. There's other really good examples of rookie quarterbacks. It happened with Mahomes. Mahomes won a Super Bowl on his rookie deal. It happened with Joe Burrow, who went to a Super Bowl on his rookie deal. When you have a guy come in as a rookie and play well, or playing on that rookie deal, all of a sudden teams are seeing dollar signs because they go, well, we're not having to pay this guy. We're going to pay everyone else, and we're going to maximize what we have going on. If Goff flounders, they're not going to hesitate at all to see what they have in Hendon Hooker, which is something very good. But Sam is right. If Goff wins the playoff game, the bar is low enough to where they're going to have to give him everything under the sun.
Well, that's what I just said. Let's say they win the division, they make the playoffs, they get bounced at home.
If they win the division, they're paying.
I truly think you have to seriously think about paying him. Because you're going to have to pay him close to $40 million. You could pay a lot of other guys instead of paying him that $40 million. Plus, you do have him under contract. You could fucking franchise him instead of giving him an extension. You wait, you franchise him.
That never ends well for anyone, though, the franchise tag. But I'm with you. They could do that.
I understand that, but I've seen it happen to Kirk Cousins 4 times.
Mm-hmm.
4 times.
And then he left.
No, 2 times then he left.
So you're correct. And Sam said something very key is it's going to be contextual when the time comes. If they get embarrassed in that home playoff game, it might make you think. And at a minimum, they're going to see what they have in Goff and maybe talk about the contract and have it on the table. But again, they're going to want to see what Hendon Hooker has going. But I think personally, if they get into the playoffs, and even though the Packers just beat them and everything with the Vikings and even the Rams are hot right now, I think if it's one of those 3 teams, I don't see a scenario where the Lions lose that home playoff game against one of those 3 teams if they get in. I don't see it.
If they win the division, they're going to pay Goff. If you look at the list, all right, and this is where this gets real fucky. If you look at the list of quarterbacks that are the way that they're paid, realistically going forward, at 35 years old, would you rather have Goff than Russell Wilson?
Goff
Goff or Kyler Murray?
It's very close.
I'm taking Goff.
I would take Murray over.
Right now, Goff, Murray's ceiling is significantly higher.
Goff or Deshaun Watson?
Goff right now.
It all depends. Does he get a
right now
a free package to the fucking red light district in Detroit here to get his massage?
No, he doesn't get that.
Goff or Daniel Jones?
Goff.
I mean, come on.
I would be honest with you. I like Danny Dimes.
You're high. At the end of the day, if Goff commands that $45 million mark, which he probably will, it will put him right where Stafford is right now.
Okay.
Except he's 6 years younger.
You go, then I'm going after you.
What if they win first playoff game, but Goff throws like 2 picks?
No,
in other words,
they win the playoff game,
embarrassed in the next round.
If they win,
doesn't matter.
If they win the
road,
he basically is giving the game away, and
No.
the defense saves their ass.
No, if he wins a playoff game, he's doing something that no one has done here in my lifetime. He's getting the contract.
What do you mean? It's not true.
I'm 31. I wasn't alive in 91. I wasn't alive for Scott Mitchell.
Maybe you're right.
Listen, if they win the
I
division,
was.
they're paying the
It
man.
wasn't Scott Mitchell.
They're paying the
It was
man.
Eric Kramer.
I thought Scott Mitchell won the playoff game.
Oh, it was Eric Kramer.
You know what? No, you're a fucking piece of shit is what you are. Because he goes out and he has 3 bad games. You had
You
him.
were the first
you
guy to
had
jump
him.
off the
You had
golf
him
wagon.
so deep
on.
down your throat
No,
the
I
first
never-
fucking 9 games of the year, and he loses 3 games, and now you're a big Hendon Hooker guy. Guess what,
never
bud?
have.
You haven't seen Hendon Hooker take a snap since his fucking leg fell off and was on 696.
understand
So everybody who's big on Hendon Hooker needs to fuck off with that, because Hendon Hooker could very well.
Day one, Goff cannot.
And guess what?
Cannot.
If Hendon Hooker
Hit
comes out,
Jameson Williams.
guess what?
At all.
Guess what? And if they get rid of Goff and Hendon Hooker comes out and he's the next Justin Fields, you'll be praying to get him back.
You don't not pay Jared Goff just because he can't hit Jameson Williams. And I agree with you. I agree that's a problem. But can I tell you something?
I don't do drugs.
JMO, if he can't even throw the fucking ball,
I don't
That's
do drugs.
not entirely on Goff. That's on the fucking offensive coordinator that they can't figure that
the
out.
whole thing, man.
It's the whole thing.
The whole fucking
listen,
thing.
you
Whole
guys,
ship.
you guys nailed it. This is the same Jared Goff that won X amount of games straight. It's the same Jared Goff that's third in the league all time in pass attempts without turning the ball over.
Right.
It's that. If the last month doesn't happen, we're not even having this conversation.
If the last month didn't happen, you're giving him $50 million. You're not thinking fucking twice about it.
Did you like Stafford? You seem to be a big Stafford guy, right?
Yeah.
Stafford was significantly more inconsistent than Jared Goff is.
Absolutely.
Significantly. And he got paid.
I will say that.
He got paid
absolutely.
over and over and then eventually won a Super Bowl. Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl with a really young team that didn't have nearly the pieces as Stafford's Rams team
I
had.
like Jared Goff. He's my team's quarterback. I have to get behind him, okay? But it scares me when this dude's just stationary all the time. He can't
You're
fucking
saying
do
this
anything.
after a month, though. It's the
No,
same Jared
even
Goff.
in those games, he can't.
But he
Listen,
wasn't turning
listen,
the ball
5
over,
weeks
and
ago,
they
we were
won the
talking about
games.
Jared Goff being an MVP candidate.
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
I never was.
Yes,
We all
you
were.
guys.
We all were.
Yes, you were.
were.
Bruce,
We
they
all
won all
were.
those games because of him.
He was a
He
legitimate
won
MVP
them.
Never
candidate.
said that.
Out of their fucking 9 wins,
Kidding me?
he won them 5 by himself.
This was before.
You're a
the
typical
bye-
fucking
this was
Lions
before
fan.
the bye
I like
week.
him, dude. I think he did do all
Hey,
those
this
things,
was
but I never
before the
thought he
bye
was the
week.
fucking MVP.
Before the game that happened in Baltimore.
You didn't either. You
Wait
thought
a
it was
minute.
David Montgomery.
Wait a minute. Before the fucking game in Baltimore, everybody was talking about Jared Goff being in MVP consideration. Because he hadn't thrown an interception in
never
what?
thought that
Fucking
was
300
fucking-
attempts?
No, it
Something
was broken
stupid.
before that, but again, going into that week, Jared Goff
Correct.
was an MVP candidate. They were rolling. They had one loss at that point. They looked outstanding. If the last month doesn't happen, and again, is Goff a problem right now? Fuck yeah, he is. But is there a way bigger picture? I think the offense and Ben Johnson and the fucking part of the offensive line and the drops and the running game not being creative. I think there's a whole slew of problems, and Jared Goff's just one of them. The penalties, the untimely penalties. If that all gets corrected, this conversation
Everything
is
that's
happening.
going on with them right now can be corrected.
100%. And they're
But
9 and 4.
the problem is this. I need to see them get back to what got them there. You need to see them get back to what's gotten them there. And I'm not talking about this year with Sam Laporta and Jahmyr Gibb. We need to rewind a little bit before all that and go back to what they were last year was a fuck you. We are going to run the ball at you till you can't fucking take it anymore.
And that's also what
And
makes
that's
Jared
gone.
Goff great.
And that's gone.
That's what makes Jared Goff great is when they're running the ball
Excellent.
until you can't fucking
Correct.
take it anymore. Okay, we're going to pull play action out of our ass and hit you deep. We're going to hit Khalif deep.
Yeah, fuck you. We're going to Khalif Raymond you twice a game for touchdowns. Where is it?
so-
because you've stopped being this physical animal. You stop being this team that outworks everybody else.
It's a bigger picture.
That's why.
It's a bigger picture. They're not playing clean football and everything. And Goff is a part of that, but Stafford was that all the fucking time. That 2 interception performance that Goff had the other day, that was Stafford every other week. And Stafford went on to win a Super Bowl.
Stafford would still.
No,
hit that
stop.
big
Don't
throw.
even.
Listen to me.
And Jared Goff had the
He
big
was here
throw
for 10
all
years and
fucking
won
year until
nothing,
the
dude.
last
Every
month.
ball into triple coverage. I'm just saying it bothers me.
10 years.
Bothers me.
10 years. He was here and won nothing.
Nothing.
I understand.
Period.
Nothing. And they
With
and,
the best receiver in football.
And not only that, but I've had this thing in my head. I'm like, yeah, do I really want the Lions to win the division if they're going to back into it? Well, fuck yeah, I do. The Rams backed into that division title 2 years ago. They backed in. They literally backed into it. Okay, they backed into the division title, and then they had to get Odell Beckham. They had to get Von Miller. They had to get all of these pieces. Jalen Ramsey at one point.
Yeah.
They had to get all of these pieces
Listen, the Giants
to make it
backed
work a
into the
certain way.
division,
They needed Cam
backs
Akers
into
to
the
come back.
playoffs with add a fucking 6th seed and wins the Super Bowl twice. Twice.
Can I make an announcement real quick here, just for the record?
It's your show.
Matt Stafford, who's had Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua this year, when you say Goff doesn't know how to throw the deep ball, on completions of 20 yards or more, Stafford 52, Goff 54. Patrick Mahomes, who has a team full of guys who he should be able to catch the deep ball, completions of 20 or more on the season, 38.
Well, I will say this.
All I said.
I think Pat Mahomes' team has dropped more balls than anybody in the league.
Hold on, we don't get these opportunities very often. Start over.
I said I got all of this. I never said I liked Stafford over Goff. Like, maybe 2 years ago I
The
did.
conversation is you don't like Goff and you're worried about him. Go ahead.
have concerns right now. Yes, and as everybody should until he fixes it.
You are
and
every Lions fan.
Every Lions
You are
fan.
every Lions
That's
fan.
why-
And every
All I'm
NFL fan, for
saying-
that matter. There's people in Kansas City that are like, fuck you, Mahomes, right now.
All I said was I'm a big fan of Hendon Hooker. I never said anything, and I got accused. By
Drive high, get a DUI.
I'll say this much.
Drive high, get a DUI.
I'm also a big fan of Hendon Hooker, and I relish the opportunity to see what he's doing, but I cannot hit the panic button on Jared Goff after 1 month of football, where things are down bad right now. Because we
does he
never did this with
deserve
Stafford. Well, actually, everyone did this with Stafford.
Yes. What do you mean? Does he deserve it? What did Daniel Jones do to earn 40 mil? What has Kyler Murray done to earn 45? What the fuck did Deshaun Watson do besides get jerked off to earn 50?
It's transitive
Hey,
property.
that's called having your cake and eating it too.
Fucking A.
It's transitive property.
Not only was he
on the-
making got a guaranteed contract, he got,
got
47
hand
handies.
On the does he deserve it conversation?
Yes.
On the does he deserve it
Costs a lot of
conversation,
money,
if
but
there's
he's got
you
47
just told
handies.
me before the show your dad bought his playoff
What do you
tickets.
pay? About 7,000.
We're not going to that playoff game at Ford Field. That's never happened in my
7,000
lifetime
handy?
if it's not for Jared Goff. And
10
so
grand
in
handy?
that case, instantly off the bat, if Stafford wins one playoff game, they're not fucking trading him. Stafford never won a playoff game, and he never won the division here.
Thank you.
Goff is doing something that we have never seen.
You didn't have a
this
problem
era
paying
of Lions
Stafford.
Football, and they paid Stafford endless money. At one point, it was only for a couple months.
With that much, he was the
Okay,
highest paid
and here's the
quarterback
other
at one
thing.
point, and that was stupid.
Here's the other thing. I think everybody forgets when you throw Stafford up on this thing. He never won a playoff game with a top 2 or 3 receiver in league history.
No, he's the best. Calvin
And
Johnson's
at
the
that
best receiver
time,
of all time.
at that time that he was playing, Jim Schwartz's defense was ranked in the top 10.
It was a great defense. The 2014
Correct.
defense was
They
better
were-
than the
they
20.
were in the top 10 in
That wasn't
defense.
even Jim Schwartz.
That's
But the
what I'm saying.
2014 defense had a top 3
Give-
linebacker in Levy, a top 3 cornerback in fucking
Slay.
Slay, and then the number 1 defensive lineman in football in Sue at the time. It had all 3 of those guys, and they couldn't win. And on top of that, Kelvin Johnson. I think Golden Tate was on that team.
Vandenbosch.
Ebron, Pettigrew. He had, or not Ebron. Pettigrew.
Kyle Vandenbosch.
They had everybody. You're in 2011. I'm in 2014. But that's not the
Yeah,
point.
but Vandenbosch was still
what
there.
He's saying is it's the point applies. They had all these guys, and Stafford couldn't win, and he
know
needed
what
Pro
happened?
Bowlers to
You know
get
what
it done in St.
happened?
Louis.
Reggie
went-
Bush,
they-
Calvin Johnson.
They went to
Golden
Dallas,
Tate.
got embarrassed. They went to fucking New Orleans and got ass punched.
That defense: Ziggy Ansah, Nick Fairley, Ndamukong Suh, Tahir Whitehead, Levy, Slay.
Andre Levy, yeah.
Levy was literally the best linebacker
And they couldn't
the
do
team
it.
had seen since fucking Spielman.
And they couldn't
And then
do
he got a fucking parasite, and it ruined the whole
If
trajectory
Jared
of the
Goff
franchise.
wins you the division, okay,
You're paying him.
you as a Lions fan should be ecstatic about this
What
year.
is the price for Jared Goff?
I think he's gonna end
don't
with
know.
$45 million
Probably
bucks.
45.
just the way the market goes. He's gonna get top 5 money, which is between $45 and $50 million.
Well,
Which
no,
by
top
next
five.
year, by
top
next
five's
year
50
he'll
million.
be middle of the pack.
See, and I'm just thinking there's so many other holes in the team that is he worth?
Well, that's why I had asked the question.
Hey, here's the thing: the holes don't matter if you don't have a quarterback.
True.
And all Hendon Hooker is, at the end of the day, is a gargantuan question mark. That's all he is.
I never said play him for this year.
You have to hope you get the Brock Purdy element. You have to hope you get the
But here's-
Hurts
here-
element.
here
You have
was
to,
my
you're
thing.
hoping for something
Now
for
you
a
have
lottery
you
thing
still
to
have
happen.
Teddy Ballgame under contract right now. Okay,
Oh Jesus!
he's
fucking
not going to command the money. What are you cheesing about?
Are you going to say that they should dump Goff and
Wait a
play
minute.
Bridgewater?
I didn't say that. If it comes down to them making the playoffs, losing in the first round, and you still have all 3 of these guys on the fucking roster next year, what do?
You
Do-
play
do you-
Jared Goff
do
and
you-
win 12 games.
Play golf next year
And win 12
Okay.
games.
and win what you can win because their schedule is going to be a lot harder than that it is this year.
But their young team that went
Correct.
to the playoffs and won the division is going to be better.
What are you over here fucking?
Because
You got the worst takes there is right now, bud.
me?
Yeah.
What do you mean I have the worst take?
I'm giving you fucking scenarios right now.
You're not
And
wrong.
all I'm asking is, what is your opinion on it? What do you think they would be dumb to go and say, you know what? I think we've gone as far with Goff as we can go.
They haven't even.
But-
you haven't scratched the surface yet.
I don't believe that.
So
I
How?
don't believe that.
again,
I
you
believe
can't,
you've seen
you
it.
can't let his point get lost because I genuinely
I
think
don't believe
I
that.
genuinely think they took a 3rd-round flyer
Correct.
on Hendon Hooker in the event Goff gets injured and you get that fucking
Or
crazy
they
ass scenario.
Or they
when
won
they
7
brought Jared
games
Goff
this year.
in here, they specifically said, now this was Brad Holmes talking, that their eggs in Jared Goff's basket wasn't there. They were giving him an opportunity.
and he succeeded.
So far, the first year wasn't. The second year, at the end of the year, did. And so far this year has. They've won 9 games. They haven't done that since
16.
They've had
Since
4 double
John F.
digit
Kennedy
seasons
was
in
in
30
office.
years.
I
okay?
get that. But do you base that success on going forward to invest more money into that?
Without question. Because at the end of the day, if you do not have a franchise quarterback, you are nothing.
Listen, all you guys right now, and I'm going to say this, and I'm going to be honest with you. He's been dog shit the past 3 games.
He's been dog shit.
been dog shit.
Can I ask you a question?
Actually, more than.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, go ahead.
If you are an NFL team and your starting quarterback gives you 3 dog shit games in a season, do you care? Tom Brady, every year with the Patriots, there were 3 dog shit games.
No.
Tua, there's been
No,
3. Yes, there was.
No quarterback
Come
has a 16 or 17 game perfect season.
Come
there's
on,
there's
man.
always a
I've
stretch.
never seen.
3 games.
I haven't seen Tom Brady blow fucking leads in games like Jared Goff has.
3 games a year. There was one
haven't
season he didn't do it.
There was always
always is.
They always had losing streaks at
Do you
one point.
do you think Tua is a franchise quarterback? Would you pay Tua?
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the writing's on the
He's a
wall.
lot younger. He's a lot younger than Goff.
He's
So
3 years younger.
Nah, he's
3
more.
years younger.
It's 3
Goff's
years.
what? 29.
29.
Goff was
20
the first pick
He
in
was 26 or
2016.
20.
And
Okay,
I think Tua
well,
was
I
2019.
mean, right now Goff has experience, so that's going to help him down the road.
There's another reason to pay him.
Okay.
He's not wrong though. This is the scenario. This is why they're
to,
alluding
you know what?
to
I'm
it.
trying to play GM
This
right
is why
now.
they're alluding to it. They're not rooting against. I'm not saying they're rooting against Goff. I'm not saying they're not going to pay Goff. But if the scenario where Hendon Hooker comes in and does well, that's the dream scenario. And it's not just the Lions. That's the dream scenario for any team. It's happening with the Titans right now.
Absolutely.
If you can get a
Happening with the
quarterback
Giants.
on the rookie deal, it's at the Giants. It's happening with the Giants. If you can get a quarterback on a rookie deal, you could do a lot of damage. That's why the Niners are in the position they're in. They have an MVP candidate that they're paying nothing. They're paying nothing to their fucking MVP candidate. It happened with the Eagles. The Eagles had an MVP candidate for 2 years that they were paying nothing. Of course, they paid him since then. It happened with Joe Burrow. They knew they had something good. They didn't think it would be that fucking good that
That's why
quick.
everybody was trying to figure out where does Philly get all the money to sign all these guys?
Yeah.
The Indomitian Zeus.
It's because of Brock Purdy.
all these other guys.
I'm sorry, you're talking about
Hurts.
Philly, but regardless, that's the reason why.
Right.
So if that's the scenario that comes up, that's the dream blueprint to build a franchise
that's
right now.
That's the blueprint right there. If you don't think you can go forward with Goff being what he is, then I think you have to seriously look at it if you're Brad Holmes.
Yes, but nothing has led you to believe that you can't.
And that's
Nothing has led
where
you
you're
to
right.
Believe that you can't.
And that's where
So
you're right.
far.
He has exceeded what
This conversation
He has
only comes
exceeded
up because of the last
expectations.
month.
Correct.
Because of November. That's the only reason we're having this conversation. A November, by the way, in which he still went 2-2. And they
Correct.
still haven't
500.
lost 2 games in a row this year, and they're still 9-4 for the first time in my life, and they're still doing crazy shit that I have never seen before, and all of their goals are still in front of them. Am I saying they're going to win a Super Bowl? No, but that's why it's hard to argue that they're not going to pay Goff. All the quotes are there. The evidence is there both ways, but again, Brad Holmes, it's easier to get worse at quarterback than to get better. And you get worse at quarterback if you just say, "Nah, we're going to let Jared Goff walk."
I remember
now we're
all
going
the
to trade him."
games that I watched, the losses, the Philadelphia debacle,
Hold on. Can I
the Washington debacle, when they got fucking blown out by Washington,
You talk about
blown
Stafford.
out by Philly
You talk about Stafford.
with Rodney Peete at quarterback.
Oh, Jesus. I don't even know what
What?
that is. I don't know what Rodney Pete is. At the end of the day, hold on. At the end of the day, 2 years ago, this was a 3-13-1 football team.
Yep.
And now we're talking about them winning the division, hosting a home playoff game, and
We're not there yet.
It's in the conversation.
Correct.
You're having the conversation.
I get that. We're not there yet. We need 2 more games. 2 out of the next 4.
You don't
You need 2 out of the next 4.
sell the house when you meet expectations.
Speaking of House Smith just had a perfect comment, and we could end on this. Can't judge Goff's season until we see how he comes through down the stretch. If we lose because of him, we got to cut him loose. If we believe,
I agree.
in him. I don't think he's going to be the sole reason they lose, but I said it on Monday. He's auditioning for his contract right now. If they win the division, it's hard to argue. Because
Right.
if they win the division, that means he had to win 2 meaningful games in December down the stretch, something that Stafford rarely, if ever, did.
He never did.
He didn't win meaningful games at the end of the season.
No, he went to Dallas, got ass punched, got fucking goddamn dagger punched in New Orleans.
Here's another thing. Last year, Tua lost every fucking game in December. And so far this year, he's 1-1. And nobody has a hesitation paying Tua.
Like I said, Tua's a little younger. Tua's got a fucking goddamn arsenal over there. Could you imagine having any piece of that arsenal?
Yeah.
Can you imagine having Jalen Waddle?
Give Jalen Waddle to go. Amon-Ra.
Amon-Ra?
Yeah.
I got even a better one. Could you imagine having Braxton Berrios? Opposite?
We got to go.
All right.
We got
What? What the fuck? What the fuck you mean?
We had Tommy Kennedy.
All right.
They still got Tommy
Hey, I
Kennedy.
like Tommy Kennedy.
They
we
still got
really?
him. They signed him in the practice squad. Yeah.
Oh no.
Chargers
Fuck
at
yeah.
Las Vegas. Las Vegas a 3-point favorite. Over under 34.5. I'm going to go Vegas, giving up the 3. Actually, that line changed since I said it before. It was Vegas by 1.5, and then as soon as Keenan Allen went out, it went to Vegas -3. I'm taking Vegas -3, and I'm taking the over.
What's the over?
No Josh Jacobs.
34.5.
No
Josh Jacobs is still
Yeah.
up in the air.
Yeah, I think that the Chargers rebound nicely, and I think the Raiders offensively they have no choice but to rebound nicely.
Let
There's
me tell
nothing
you
to go
something.
but
What's
up when
his
he
name
scores 0
lost his
points.
mind at the end of that fucking game last week? Antonio Pierce.
Yeah,
I'm going to take the fucking Raiders in this game.
I like the Raiders. I like
I
the
got a
Raiders
feeling
to
they're going to
cover.
come back really hard this week.
I'm gonna go. Let's have fun. Let's go with the over.
Go with the over.
These are
It's a fucking
two
over.
Easton Stick and Aiden O'Connell, and everyone's talking about how they're not going to score points. Usually that means they end up scoring points.
Hey, that means somebody's going to get hot. Somebody's going to get hot, put up a bunch of points. They're going to be like, holy shit.
Devontae Adams.
And his
Another
name
perfect game.
is Brian Hoyer.
Fuck Brian Hoyer, dude.
Anyways, do you have anything to add?
Brian Hoyer.
Is he better?
Do you have anything to add?
Yeah, thanks, Allie. Thank you for the happy podcasting.
Bruce?
No.
Okay, thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Tip Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials, Instagram and Twitter at Tip Balls, TikTok at Tip Balls Podcast. I would like to apologize to everybody listening with headphones in for Uncle Sam's incessant tapping of the pencil all day. Also, if you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify, make sure to check us out on YouTube and click subscribe so you get notified when we go live. Join us in the chat every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 4:30 and 5 because it is a great time. Thank you so much for listening. We'll be back Friday. Get ready for Playoff Machine. It's going to be fucking awesome.
Electric.